Welcome, guys. XRP has just locked in a massive momentum shift, capturing what feels like a full-on bullish turnaround after all the volatility we've endured this year. It's like that moment when the market's been whispering doubts, but suddenly the big players step in, and everything aligns for a surge that even the skeptics can't ignore. I've been digging into the latest developments, and let me tell you, the connections forming right now between regulatory wins, bank integrations, and these fresh ETF inflows are setting up something phenomenal, something that could redefine how we think about cross-border flows and liquidity in the crypto space. And yeah, the detractors out there, the ones who've been spreading FUD for years, they're not going to like where this is heading, because it's all pointing to real, tangible progress that's hard to dismiss. Let's jump right into it, because I've got some exclusive breakdowns lined up for you today. We're talking about fresh insights from key influencers and experts on X, tying into the bigger picture of how XRP is turning heads with its latest price action and those institutional tailwinds. I'll walk you through some simple chart observations without getting too technical. Think of it as zooming out to see the forest instead of staring at every tree, and we'll connect the dots on why this bullish flip matters, especially with whispers of massive daily transaction volumes on the horizon. It's all about reassurance in these uncertain times, guys, showing how the fundamentals are stacking up against the short-term noise. I appreciate you all tuning in and supporting the journey. If this resonates, smash that like and subscribe to keep the conversation going strong. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Starting with some cool discoveries popping up across the crypto community, I've been seeing a surge in posts from big accounts highlighting XRP's resilience. For instance, there's this buzz around how XRP's ETF products have smashed through the $1 billion assets under management mark faster than any other since Ethereum's launch. That's not just a number. It's a signal that institutions are piling in, locking away supply, and creating this slow burn pressure on availability. Think of it like sound waves in a crowded room. There's all this background chatter from market dips and Bitcoin maxis doubting everything. But then a big catalyst hits, like these inflows, and it cuts through like a thunderclap. One post I came across from a respected analyst noted XRP spot ETFs recording a net inflow of $38.04 million just yesterday on December 8th. Guys, that's real money flowing in, not hype. It's banks and funds saying, this asset has utility we can't ignore. And the pros? It counters the constant misinformation out there, like claims that XRP is just speculative fluff. No, this is about proven tech for payments, with fixed supply and burns that make it deflationary over time. The cons? Well, short-term volatility could shake out weak hands, but that's where the opportunity lies for those who see the long game. Expanding on this, recent reports show US spot XRP ETFs hitting a 15-day inflow streak, nearing the $1 billion milestone, with cumulative net inflows reaching $897.35 million as of December 5th. This streak includes massive weekly inflows of $170 million, with no outflows recorded, highlighting Grayscale and Franklin leading the charge on days like December 1st, with over $80 million combined. It's fascinating how this ties into broader market sentiment, where Ether and XRP are surging with strong inflows, while Bitcoin ETFs slip, underscoring XRP's quiet outperformance. Tying that into the price action, XRP's been hovering around 213 to 216 today, stabilizing at a multi-month support level after bouncing off recent lows. If you zoom out on the daily, you see this order block up ahead, that gap waiting to fill between, say, 242 and 258. Nothing too complicated, just areas where price has historically paused before pushing higher. It's like comparing it to those 2013-2017 cycles, where turbulence felt endless, but then adoption kicked in, and boom, we saw rebounds that rewarded patience. Right now, with fiscal tailwinds like expected Fed rate cuts tomorrow and the Treasury's massive $12.5 billion buyback last week, it's creating this perfect storm. Add in regulatory flips like the OCC greenlighting banks for riskless principal crypto transactions, and suddenly XRP is positioned as the go-to for efficient settlements. I wasn't expecting the speed of this turnaround, but here we are, with XRP turning bullish, as per some sharp traders out there. The RSI isn't topping out yet, hinting at resistance around 218, which we just tested, before potentially flipping it to support and eyeing $2.30 next. Delving deeper, on the hourly chart, XRP's price has declined by 0.64% over the past day, but is showing signs of upward movement after breaking out of local resistance. Analysts are pointing to a potential rebound towards $2.50 in December, with clear support above 194 holding firm, drawing from historical patterns where similar levels have acted as launch pads. Even AI models are weighing in, predicting XRP could hit the $2.50 range by Christmas, fueled by record velocity on the XRP ledger. This stability at $2.11 on December 9th, brushing near-term support, suggests a market laden with cautious optimism, where a breakout or breakdown is imminent. With the FOMC meeting tomorrow, breaking above 230 could require improved sentiment and higher volume, potentially pushing XRP higher if broader crypto trends align. XRP underperformed slightly today amid Bitcoin's surge liquidating $387 million, but its technical outlook remains uncertain yet promising, with support at 2.05 and resistance at 2.17. Forecasts like targeting 2.29, resistance break within 7 days for a move to 2.70 add to the hype, showing bullish momentum building at current levels around $2.06. But let's connect these dots deeper, because this isn't isolated. It's all tied to XRP's core strengths that make it stand out in the crypto space. Take the fixed supply of 100 billion tokens, with mechanisms like transaction burns and escrows that reduce circulating float over time. That's huge for price speculation, especially as more gets locked behind ETFs. Just look at the Bitwise 10 Crypto Index ETF launching today, with a 5% allocation to XRP, starting with $1.25 billion in assets. That's roughly 30 million XRP parked right out of the gate at current prices around $2. This fund seeks diversified exposure to the top 10 crypto assets, including Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, and XRP, with 90% of holdings in assets already in single-coin ETPs. Multiply that by more index funds, spot ETFs, DeFi protocols, and even everyday holders stashing it away, and you're staring at a supply shock in slow motion. The real float? Probably under 5 billion if I had to bet, and that's before institutional custody ramps up. This directly feeds into the bullish theme we're seeing, where short-term chaos, like recent dips from 365 highs back in July, gives way to long-term gains from real utility in payments and regulatory progress. Experts are explaining that a real XRP supply shock begins when tokens are removed from the open market, particularly through DeFi lockups, which could boost prices significantly. Warnings from analysts like Jake Claver highlight OTC trades taking longer to settle, signaling tightening liquidity with only 1-2 billion XRP remaining in OTC desks, a clear sign of an incoming supply shock. Despite a 5-10 million token sell-off by whales, XRP stays resilient, with debates on whether the market can absorb this without breaking key zones. Hidden supply squeezes are being exposed, with DeFi playing a central role in quietly stopping circulation, setting up for the next price surge. This liquidity compression is mechanical, not speculative, as ETFs and custodial products silently absorb XRP, potentially triggering a shock if inflows continue at current rates. Momentum is building toward $13.27 targets amid Ripple's $1 billion liquidity injection and shrinking reserves, keeping the 2025 forecast bullish. With the Fed turning on the liquidity hose, XRP is ready to ignite, as investors claim. Even predictions warn of a dip to 190 before rallying to $3, but with high APY staking locking up supply, conditions for a shock are ripe. Now, critiquing the hypocrisy here, you've got Bitcoin maxis preaching transparency while ignoring how secretive some projects are, but XRP's been battle-tested with clear ledgers and compliance. Remember the drama with Solana riddles going viral? It's marketing desperation, bleeding ecosystems drawing eyes back to XRP's stability. Let them hype it. It's free exposure. And speaking of big catalysts, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase dropping that bombshell about moving $16 trillion a day via blockchain. That's not fluff. It's a nod to tokenization becoming real, faster, cheaper, and more secure. Banks like his are already tokenizing deposits, paying interest on stablecoins, and if they can't build their own chains, guess who they call? Infrastructure like Ripple's, with XRP as the bridge. Guys, think about that. If XRP handles even a fraction of that flow, with turnover 3 to 5 times a day and liquid supply in the low billions, we're talking prices from $800 to $100 to $300 per token, or higher if tighter. It's shifting the valuation from hype to actual monetary plumbing, monetizing flows, FX conversions, and liquidity management. Dimon's recent statements affirm blockchain's efficiency, noting JP Morgan's $16 trillion daily movements, signaling a pivot from past crypto skepticism. Projections even brace for $16 trillion by 2030 in tokenized assets, with blockchain growth from $5.5 billion to that scale, underscoring Wall Street's earthquake amid Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP booms. Drawing historical parallels, this echoes 2018 whispers about Ripple targeting derivatives, a $1.2 quadrillion market. Back then, it was laughed off. But now, with Ripple joining ISDA in 2023, Bitnomial's CFTC-regulated platforms, where Ripple led a $25 million funding round, and connections like Brad Garlinghouse on the board, it's looking plausible. Caroline Pham as acting CFTC chair visiting Ripple HQ? That's not coincidence. It's dots connecting for compliant derivatives on XRP. If XRP steps in for settlement in bonds, debt instruments, or clearing, the price ceiling isn't retail speculation. It's global demand. Digital assets as collateral in derivatives markets are at a strategic inflection point, with 59% of institutions planning over 5% AUM allocation by 2025 and $6.9 billion already in tokenized funds. Ripple's strategy for 100 quadrillion drops of XRP unveils potential in this space, with ISDA membership enhancing access to the 1.2 quadrillion market. Here's XRP's price if it secures just 0.1% of the $1 quadrillion derivatives market. Numerous commentators see $10 as conservative for 2025, with higher valuations possible. What if it secures 0.1%? Analysts believe it's conservative, with potential for even higher by 2025 via Ripple's moves. The hype around ISDA integration is meaningful, though not overblown, unlocking quadrillion-dollar access. Contrast that with short-term setbacks, like the November dip of 18% from whale sales and macro pressures, but December's showing recovery, with predictions eyeing 2.31 near-term and up to 2.85 by year-end if resistance breaks. Institutions like BlackRock, Vanguard flipping switches for crypto ETFs, Bank of America recommending 4% allocations. It's all institutional adoption positioning XRP ahead of the curve. Predictions even see the new XRP ETFs passing $5 billion in assets soon, reflecting explosive growth. Ripple's CEO hails this billion-dollar win, with spot ETFs at $897 million cumulative inflows. XRP spot ETFs saw $231 million in early December inflows, underscoring strong investor interest. And here's a personal anecdote. Back when I first got into this space, I remember the panic during those early crashes, feeling like the sky was falling. But zooming out, It was just noise before the clap. Adoption waves that turned despair into excitement. That's what we're seeing now, with the liquidity compression flywheel. ETFs absorbing supply, shrinking exchange reserves, RLUSD corridors adding real flows, ZK identity unlocking enterprise utility, and custody locking the float. It spins one way, upward, repricing violently when it hits full speed. Chainlink's talking $867 trillion tokenization opportunity. But remember, they're oracles. XRP is the settlement, primitive, neutral bridge for repos and clearing. This counters the Max's blind spots, where they fixate on volatility while ignoring flow efficiency. From X posts, analysts like Nikos Giannoukos note XRP at 220 in December, up 2.3% so far, with YTD plus 320% and market cap at $124 billion ranking number 4, driven by $15 billion December volume on ETF buzz and ODL transactions surging to 1.2 million per day. Zach Rector points out XRP started 2025 at $2.08, down only 2% YTD, positioned for the Clarity Act in Q1 2026 with high targets into year-end. Ammonix highlights a 91% chance of 25 BPS Fed cut in December, bullish for XRP. Jack the Rippler discusses how XRP could disrupt the Federal Reserve and RWA market, with real token listing on December 5th, potentially moving the $650 trillion space. Investor notes XRP's velocity spiked to 0.03 in early December, a 6x surge, indicating large-scale repositioning without panic selling. eGrag Crypto sees a bullish pennant on XRP BTC, with 50 EMA as support, probability of 60-70% breakout. Realty discusses XRP's volatility at 6.41% in past month, boosted by $844 million ETF inflows. X-Finance Bull recalls past surges from 0.49 to 360 on similar catalysts, with billions to trillions incoming. Renox Qt Portal sees XRP at $2.07, 2.08, market cap $125 billion, support at $2, potential to 265, 367 if BTC holds. The Crypto Basic notes XRP meeting key resistance, but forecasts a 10x bigger rally in alt season. Coin Edition reports XRP velocity at 2025, peak of 0.0324, with whales moving amid unprecedented activity. Chart Nerd TA spots strong bullish divergence on daily, strengthening over 55 days. Official Denton James highlights Wisdom Tree noting XRP as only major crypto positive in 2025, up 4% YTD. Jack the Rippler quotes Brad Garlinghouse on $10 trillion flowing into XRP, potentially to $178. Alex Buier sees technical rebound to 250 3.0 hours in early December. Chart Nerd TA notes price maintaining above horizontal support from prior ATH. CryptoDog sees liquidity rebounding, XRP primed if RLUSD drops catalysts. Chad Steingraber projects $3.36 billion in ETF inflows for December, forcing price rises to slow acquisition. Just in Time lists bullish ignition. Bitwise ETF live, $874 million inflows, CFTC greenlight, velocity high, whales pulling off exchanges. XRP Queen cites David Schwartz on XRP moving all money, becoming Fed currency with real token live December 5th. Weaving in global perspectives, you've got Swift, Euroclear, UBS, MasterCard adopting similar tech. XRP's transparency contrasts secretive norms, providing emotional relief for holders tired of misinformation. For novices, think of it as a highway. Legacy systems are clogged toll roads, XRP's the express lane, reducing costs 60-90%, 24/7. Experts see the psychological edge, smart money's accumulating quietly, like those 1B plus ETF milestones. PNC partnering with Coinbase for direct Bitcoin trading, but it's the ripple effect, pun intended, to altcoins like XRP that's key. Coinbase's CEO noting banks leaning into stablecoins? That's them embracing yield, innovation, or getting left behind. Bankrupt, essentially, as customers flock to better value. This global shift is evident in how XRP's divisibility into drops positions it for massive markets, with 100 quadrillion units ready for derivatives. Psychological insights show fear sells, but facts like XRP's resilience, positive YTD while others lag, reassure investors. Smart money behaviors include whales repositioning without dumping, as velocity spikes indicate preparation for new channels. Midway through, if you're finding this helpful, hit that like. It keeps the energy flowing. Now, addressing pain points, the panic from crashes. It's temporary. Focus on fundamentals, like XRP's first ever CFTC-regulated US spot listing, a historic milestone. Misinformation from maxis? Call it out. Bitcoin ETFs monetize volatility, XRP monetizes utility. This builds community empowerment, turning hobbyists into informed investors. Let's expand on community vibes. Posts like XRP meeting key resistance, but poised for a 10x rally in alt season foster that sense of shared excitement. Or the rotation signal on XRP BTC charts, where a bullish pennant suggests capital flowing in as BTC dominance peaks. These insights turn despair into hype, empowering viewers to see beyond short-term dips. Escalating the revelations, Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin climbing to $1.1 billion market cap on Ethereum, closing in on $1.3 billion total. Jet fuel for the digital economy, as one lawmaker put it after the Genius Act signed in July. Current data shows RLUSD at a live market cap of $1.27 billion, with circulating supply over 1 billion coins. It surged past $1 billion with multi-chain adoption, reaching approximately 1.3 billion according to analytics. As of late 2025, it's valued at $292 billion, nearing $1.3 billion, driven by expansion across XRP, Ledger, and Ethereum. Launched in December 2024, it's posted 1,078% YTD growth, entering top 10 stablecoins. Predictions for mid-2026, 5 to 10 billion or more, fueling corridors. Tie that to swell event themes, tokenized assets, stablecoins, DeFi, regulation. It's all converging. One expert even praised Ripple for failing to mess up, which in this space is high praise. Repeating key themes without redundancy. Utility over hype, supply shock inevitability, institutional buy-in trumping short-term chaos. Observations of smart money? They're not trading. They're using XRP for real flows, like in CBDC pilots or ODL transactions surging to 1.2 million per day. Global psych insights. Fear sells, but facts reassure. XRP's down only 2% YTD from 2.08, positioned for Clarity Act in Q1 2026, with high targets into year-end. Critiquing industry norms. Why do we accept opacity when XRP offers full visibility? It's empowering viewers to question, fostering trust. For mobile viewing, keep it dynamic. Short bursts of hype, like, this is absolutely phenomenal, building momentum. Another anecdote, I recall dismissing early XRP dips as the end, but learning to spot institutional footprints changed everything. Now, with ETFs like Bitwise's BITW trading on NYSE, offering exposure to XRP amid top cryptos, it's clear the tide's turning. Bitwise's XRP ETF, ticker XRP, launched on NYSE, targeting the third largest crypto with its 13-year track record in disrupting $250 trillion payments. This adds layers to the narrative, connecting retail enthusiasm with enterprise-grade utility. As we wrap, philosophically, this is about transformation, the inevitability of blockchain reshaping finance with XRP at the forefront. Excitement for the future in payments and tokenization? It's palpable, leaving you inspired to discuss and share theories. One final analogy. Like silver hitting new highs as a defensive play, XRP's bullish turn is the offensive catalyst, capturing that 100% momentum shift into something legendary. Stay empowered, guys. Let's keep connecting these dots.